Hello, everybody. It's the 31st of May. I hope you guys had a great day, great holiday yesterday. And welcome to Night Talk. Today, I thought we'd start off with a nice ghost story. This ghost story is about a hitchhiking ghost named Resurrection Mary, and supposedly is Chicago's most famous ghost. If you're not familiar with hitchhiking ghosts, basically they like to walk around on roads, empty streets, highways, waiting for somebody to pick them up and take them to their destination. Resurrection Mary is the tale of a girl who was killed in 1934. Her name was Mary Bregovy, Bregovy, and one night she went to a dance hall in the 1930s, and upon leaving, she was killed in a car wreck. That was 34. The first sighting of Resurrection Mary was in 1939 by a man called Jerry Pallas. Jerry Pallas was at the dance hall, and he was enjoying himself, dancing with a beautiful woman with long blonde hair in a white shimmering gown. At the end of their evening, he decided to ask her if she needed a lift home, which she replied yes. They got in the car, and to make a long story short, she directed him toward Resurrection Cemetery, which is located on Archer Road in Justice, Illinois, just a hop, skip, and a jump from Chicago. When she got out of the car, she vanished, as ghosts are wont to do. Later, when he was interviewed in 1992, he stated that something was odd about her at the time because her body was cold to the touch, just like a corpse. Ice cold. And Jerry should know, he did work in a funeral home for a bit. Richard Crowe, who was a Chicago ghost hunter, very famous, wrote some books and started some great tours. Rest in peace. He's passed away at the age of 64. Found that the best possibility of the identity of the woman was Mary Bregovy, because she was killed in the traffic accident in 1934, a month before her 21st birthday. And she was laid to rest in Resurrection Cemetery in her favorite white gown. And this is the description that drivers have when they see this ghost and they stop to give her a lift. But when they get to Resurrection Cemetery, poof, she's gone. Now here we're going to go to Wikipedia, and you can go and look at this. Here's an image of Resurrection Cemetery. These are the gates. This is where she wanted to be dropped off. All right. And the dance hall everybody believes that she mentions is Willowbrook. Now the Willowbrook Ballroom that you can see here, it was destroyed by a fire, sadly. But back in its heyday, it hosted the big bands of the day, such as Count Basie and Gene Krupa. So it was a very, very popular place. And this is where it's believed she had her very last dance before she was killed. And right here you can see this is Archer Road, right there. So supposedly she gets out of the Willowbrook Ballroom and starts walking toward Resurrection Cemetery. Now, there's also an interesting thing about Resurrection Cemetery here. And people who worked around the area and lived around the area or visited graves regularly would often find that the front gates here, you see, they're your typical wrought iron gates. Well, the bars would be bent. All right, bent open wide with thumbprints melted into the bars. In fact, on the Unsolved Mysteries site, there's a lady who recalls this. She used to work next to it. Her name is Tina Kurkowski, and she used to work at the horse stables that used to be close by Resurrection Cemetery. One Halloween, they were taken to their friends by their friend's mom to the main entrance. The gates were closed, obviously, but you could tell that the iron bars on them were pulled apart with embedded thumbprints in them. According to Tina, there's no way something human could do that, even if the bars were welded hot, because how, even if they were heated, can someone do that? All right, and she, Tina used to work around there, like I said, over the horse stables, and she said during the 70s and 80s, you would see this quite often. Now, here's the thing. Now, if you want to look for sightings have slowed down in recent years. People are trying to find her, but they can't. They can't seem to find her. But what the odd thing is, the sightings slowed down after the Willowbrook Ballroom burnt down. So that's kind of saying something, isn't it? For ghosts. I mean, her place, where she originated from, where she was, her last dance supposedly was, before she was killed, burned down, so she has no place to go and enjoy herself and then walk back home to Resurrection Cemetery. So it's kind of a weird correlation, isn't it? Since the ballroom burned down, so have the sightings. And even since the ballroom burned down, there's been no reports of the gates being, pulled, the wrought iron gates being pulled apart. There might be something to the afterlife then, if her source, if her source was no longer there, there's no reason for her to go out dancing and then take a walk back to her home. It's also quite depressing when you think your home might be a cemetery. You gotta make themselves look really good. That's something to behold. Okay, everybody, that's the legend of Resurrection Mary. I hope you had a good time listening, and I hope you visit us again here at Night Talk.